I take these notes and then I'm reading them now, and I'm like, these are stupid notes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rev and Filo show.
Welcome back.
I was watching the Zoom podcast, and it said, welcome to the first ever Rev and Filo Zoom podcast.
Yeah.
Which, incidentally, was the last ever
Yeah. So
Rev and Filo
that
Zoom
was
podcast.
Almost 2 weeks into my quarantine. We missed a week last week, I believe.
Yeah.
So now we're
back in our
weeks.
normal formatting.
Back in the groove.
Back in the garage.
Fuck you, Corona.
We're still quarantined. Well, we were actually saying how in Cali, I think you said that in California, that a lot of other states are like, California is kind of like, that we're kind of overdoing it with the restrictions.
Yeah, and then Mayor Garcetti which is the mayor of Los Angeles, just had the White House send him a letter saying,
yeah, I saw that.
They
were like, ease up. Yeah, I saw it. It said that we understand you're trying to protect your people and you have that right as a mayor, to protect the people of Los Angeles, but like ease up or else you're going to get into like unlawful territory.
Yeah, they're going to slap them with like legal actions and stuff. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude. Like,
you were telling me that like we're in phase 1 of like
phase 2.
We're starting phase 2?
No, we're like in the middle of phase 2.
Okay.
What
is? I didn't even know. I mean, what is phase 1?
So
what was phase 1? In my head, everything's still closed. I haven't left my house
in
2 months.
I'm not entirely sure what the phases were, but I do know that. So like phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? There's 4 phases.
Right.
Almost like Marvel, I guess, the way they're
like
doing
a
their
Marvel phase.
Yeah. So
phase 1 was a little shaky.
Yeah.
Phase 2, they're really starting to find their footing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So phase 2 is like finding a way to open up trails and which are now as of today, which is March.
Oh, they're opening up hiking trails.
They've since last week.
Okay.
They've
I've been wanting to go for a good hike.
Yeah. So they opened up hiking trails. Some first come first serve camping sites are open, like Joshua's Tree.
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
Because we were trying to go camping and there was
a
lot of stuff was still closed.
Yeah, but we did that like pre-phase, middle of phase 2, I guess,
okay.
like pre-phase 2. I don't know, something around there.
Okay.
Anyway, so the way that the governor introduced, which a lot of other governors are introducing, these phases on like opening, and one of them is, which I have an article on, and this is supposedly supposed to be in like middle of phase 2, where they're gonna get restaurants to reopen
right
now.
But they're still gonna have like guidelines.
They're gonna have guidelines.
Yeah.
They're definitely gonna be. If you're a restaurant that has seating outside, you're most likely gonna be able to open up faster than other restaurants that only have indoor eating.
Right. So if you have like a patio, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. They're also gonna allow you to drink in the streets, depending on
drink alcohol in the streets.
Yeah, not walk around, but just like within the vicinity of the restaurant. So
the whole world's turned upside down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what they're gonna do is like, let's say, you have a restaurant and you had outdoor seating, and also in the front you had like some parking area. Well, you could turn that parking area or
into
valet
like a seating area,
into a seating area where you can mark it off as like.
So they still want.
They still kind of want it sanctioned off.
And this is phase 2.
This is like middle phase 2, heading into phase 3.
Because you said they were going to open gyms again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. So they're also talking about opening gyms. I have no idea what the details entail, but I do know that for restaurants, they're making like there's guidelines that the CDC is working on and releasing that they have to comply with, and if you fail to comply, then you have to shut down your restaurant.
Right.
So the basics would be 6 feet. You're sitting at a table. You can't sit. Less than 6 feet away from somebody else,
right?
Unless they're in your group, I believe. And I'm not sure. And then they're going to change the number of people that are allowed inside of a restaurant while they're eating. So there's going to be a lot of changes to like businesses and stuff like that. But what I do know is that phase 4, which is the last phase, when hopefully everything goes well.
Some say the best phase.
Yeah, when everything goes well, and we're get a handle on this virus, and hopefully there's a treatment or vaccine, they will reopen theaters. And
now, when is phase 4 set to start?
There's no
definitive answer.
No, there's no definitive answer. They say all everybody says, and governors and mayors, all they say is we are working hard to get past phase 2, but
but we still have to social distance.
Exactly, yeah.
Wear the mask.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I noticed there's a lot of there's that Karen trend going on.
Oh my god, it's fucking annoying, dude.
And it is very annoying. But you feel bad. I don't know, like it's almost like I don't know. You kind of want to like backhand him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I not in the sense of like I want to hit a woman, but in the sense of like, remember, when you were a kid and you would complain, and then your mom, who had a noticeably much more difficult life than you had,
right.
would just backhand the shit out of you. Just be like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't even know shit about. Like, that's how I get that. I feel like a lot of people are getting that feeling towards quote unquote Karens.
Yeah, and a Karen, if you don't know what that is,
I'm pretty sure everybody knows what a Karen is.
Yeah, it's all over the internet.
John Mulaney, because there was there's memes or posts going around saying that Karen is like the N-word for white women, they say. So, and which is obviously ridiculous, right?
Yeah, that's
stupid. But there's a John Mulaney bit, and he talks about the word midget. This is an old bit, but it kind of rings true with that argument that Karen is the N-word of white women,
Right.
And he goes, I'm arguing with this person, and this person says, midget is like is just as bad as the N-word. And John Mulaney goes, no, it's not. You know how I know that? Because you can't even say the N-word. When you have to say N-word instead of the actual word, that means that's the worst. That word is more worse. Yeah. You can't even say N-word. You know what I'm saying? So, no one's, K-word. Come on, get out of here.
But a lot of those people, like Karen, it's just where do they get the entitlement? It's crazy.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I was watching a video today.
I'm an old white lady. I don't know what it's like to be an old white lady.
Yeah, for real. Because I was watching a video today, and they were like in a Sears, and
there's tons of videos going around.
Yeah, and this had to be pre-virus or pre-pandemic, but when they had this video, and she's like screaming at the retailer, "I want my money back." They're like,
"Was it the Red Lobster one?"
No, it was at Sears. So she was
Sears.
She was complaining for her money back, but she paid with a debit card.
Right.
So they gave her money back, but it wasn't. It's obviously
like it's gonna go back to your bank account.
Yeah, it's gonna go back to your bank. So we can't. They're like, we can't.
She wanted cash.
She wanted cash. She was like, "No, you need to give me my money back because I paid and I got a refund. So my money." And they're like, "Man, we gave you your money back."
Right.
She's like, "No, you need to give me cash. I need cash right now in my hand right now." And then not only was it her, then her mom got involved and her daughter got involved.
What did they say?
And they were, so the mom was like, "You can't be fucking recording. If you record us, we're gonna tell our lawyer and you're gonna be sued."
Whatever. Okay, tell them.
Yeah. That's just like, okay, well, we better not find this video, dude. And then the daughter's holding like a little girl. So the little girl has this. It's like she's probably like 2, maybe 1. And she's holding this little girl while the 3 of them are just yelling at the top of their lungs, very like just vulgar shit at the.
But
retailer.
like that whole like white woman, like, let me talk to your to the manager. That was way before this whole like sort of like mass thing's been going on, and that's kind of an old stereotype, like, oh, if you want shit done, if you want customer service to get into shape, get an old white lady to fucking talk to them, and they'll fucking whip into shape real quick. But it seems like essential workers are wow. First of all, essential workers are under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's nurses and there's doctors who are under the most stress. But yeah, there's people who work in retail, or not retail, but work at like markets and these places. They're already under a lot of stress. They're having to work in a dying economy. They're on the front lines. They're putting their health at risk.
And their families
They're putting
at
their
risk.
families' health at risk. And then they have all these ladies coming in yelling at them, you know, and it's like everyone has a breaking point. You know what I'm saying? Like you only have like we don't. It's like almost like an even playing field now. We're not in that sort of where we were 3 months ago, where it was like, well, you kind of just have to take it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like we're not going to take this shit anymore because it's bad enough we're out here. You know, we shouldn't even be out here.
Yeah.
Let alone taking this kind of abuse.
We're trying to serve you.
Yeah.
There's another video I seen where not only do they have to watch out for like essential workers watching out for their, you know, making sure they wash their hands and making sure they go back home safe and, you know, whatever. There was a few videos of like old white lady Karens that were putting down their masks and
like coughing on people.
Yeah.
So they didn't even. I saw some of those videos. They didn't even have masks.
Yes.
They would just cough and I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's fucking.
It's
crazy.
almost like a tantrum.
Yeah. I mean, maybe people are tired of staying stuck inside. People are tired of the rules.
I mean, yeah, everyone's fucking tired of the rules and everyone's tired of staying inside. But the thing is, Karens never had to follow the rules before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
You know, like remember what I said last podcast where it was like you see a lot of people protesting that are white people because white people aren't used to this kind of like heavy pushback from the government. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of used to just doing whatever they want. You know, especially because they got money. You know what I'm saying? So it's they're just, you know, they're not used to it. And I mean, you know, they have I guess everyone has a right to stand up for themselves, but when you live in the United States and, you know, people, you know, minorities look at it and like, damn, calm down, dog. Like, Jesus Christ, you know. Like,
well, it's also, I mean, I don't know.
I saw a meme and it was like, you know, back when they legalized gay marriage and there was like bakeries.
Yeah, that's right.
Who wouldn't, you know,
make
bake
cakes. Yeah, they wouldn't
for
make
a gay
wedding
wedding,
cakes.
right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't make wedding cakes for same-sex weddings. And then you have all the Karens, and they're like, well, that's their right as store owners. They, you know, you have the right to refuse service, right? That's an age-old sign we've all seen since we were kids. We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone, right? Oh, well, they have that right. And then it's like 2020. Oh, you can't come in without a mask. It's like Karens. Oh, you're discriminating against me. That's not right. I have rights, you know, this and that. And it's like it just looks bad. It looks bad. You know, hey, you know, whatever.
Insane. Well, you know,
I don't know.
There's another good.
I feel like I'm gonna have a white mother-in-law one day, so I don't know. Maybe I should ease up.
Well, there you go. You battled her for all the Karens out there. You battled her. PlayStation's coming back with their deal. I don't know if you remember last year.
Yeah, I've been all up on the Naughty Dog. I've been on the Naughty Dog.
I thought
tip.
since we played, since we talked about PlayStation last podcast, there are some deals for those of you who listen to our podcast and like PlayStation. June 3rd, that same deal, I guess, sale that they had last year is coming.
Okay.
Where they're gonna give pretty much
just a promo of some sort. We're getting paid for this.
No, I'm just saying like there's some sick ass deals they're gonna have.
Okay,
like,
go. I want to hear them.
So there's a 12-month PlayStation Now subscription, which is the streaming.
The streaming.
You're gonna get 30% off for that. There's a 12-month PlayStation Plus. So if you need to renew, which like me, I need to renew mine.
I don't even know when I got mine. I've only had it for
I had
maybe
mine in June. So
I think I got mine at the beginning. Sometime in the last 4 months, I got mine. So I think I'm good.
So I'm definitely gonna use this coupon. But The Last of Us Remastered is coming out. And I remember you were talking about that a lot.
Yeah, I just finished playing it. I already had The Last of Us.
Well, I'm thinking about getting it. It's gonna come out for $10.
Oh,
how much did you
I
get
got it. I got it. It came with my PlayStation, so
it came with you. So you got it for free. Yeah.
Kind of got it for free.
Yeah.
Dude, The Last of Us. The second one's coming out, and I played the first one, but I never finished it. And I had barely now that I've played through the whole game, I was barely in the beginning, I barely was scratching the surface, so I played it because I'm like, all right, the second one's coming out. People always talked about the ending. You got it. One of the best video games endings and one of the best video game stories ever told. You know, there's always, and you know, I already heard that from people I know who played it.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you go online and you watch like gaming channels on YouTube and they talk about the greatest games ever made and this and that,
The Last of Us is always
up there.
Hmm.
And it's always about the story and the ending and the game. And they don't really even talk about the gameplay. They just talk about the narrative is just like mind-boggling. So I'm like, okay, the second one's coming out. I need to
finish the first
one.
one.
Let me go. So I restarted it. I restarted it from the beginning, and I finished it in about 3 days. It's actually a relatively short playthrough, but I played it. I played it one day and I got to where I was the last time, and then I played it a couple days later, and you know I've talked about this before, but especially with 3D gaming, I tend to, especially because I don't really smoke weed anymore. Weed used to help with it, but I tend to get motion sickness.
Oh, okay. So you can't play
after a while, so I can't play for that long. You know, maybe 2 hours. And anyways, I ended up playing it for like all day. I started playing it like at 10 and 11 in the morning, and I played it all the way to like 8 o'clock at night.
Damn.
So I played through most of the game in one day.
Shit.
But it's very compelling. And anyway, so they talk about the ending, and you play it, you know, and you get to where you get to the end, and I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know I kind of had an idea of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But my idea was way off. And when it ended, my jaw was on the floor. I was like I remember I finished it in the morning. I remember I played it all night.
Better ending than Red Dead?
They evoke different emotions. Red Dead, you get this well, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
I mean,
two different emotions.
It's weird. It's not so much the ending, like what happens. Well, yeah, no, it's well, I guess that sounds stupid. It's how it ends.
Yeah.
It ends and you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's just like,
damn,
it's crazy.
Okay.
And it really like the second one I was like totally invested. Like,
so now you're ready.
I'm ready for the second one, dude. Like, it was like you gotta play the first one,
okay, to
have any sort of like emotional stakes in the second one.
Right. All right.
So then there's out of the remastered, there's a DLC. It's called Left Behind.
And that comes with the remastered.
Yeah, it comes with the remastered version, so it's already gonna come with it. Well, at least. When I got it, it came with it. It was right there, and I played it. And it's a short DLC. It took me about an hour to it's relatively difficult, but it took me about an hour to finish it. But again, like, you know, the gameplay, it's a fun game to play, and the gameplay is great. But the character development of these characters, and what it does, the DLC, it gives you a little bit like prequel.
Right.
A little bit more character development on the girl prior to the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And then it also, but at the same time, you play in like two different timelines where you play in the like before the game, like a prequel to the game, and then it fills in some gaps
during
the main story.
Oh, okay.
It's.
Yeah, nice.
It's fucking. So by the time I finished the DLC, oh, bro, I was like, I was like, this is the greatest game I've ever played.
Greatest game.
Yeah, I got on Facebook and I put on Facebook. I said, I still can't figure out why games don't get Academy Awards, because some of them are that cinematically like.
That's how you know Rev was touched by a game. He went on wrote all
well,
about
I don't
it
really get
on
Facebook. On Facebook a lot these days, but like. I use Twitter mostly and Instagram, but I use Twitter now but I don't have as many followers on Twitter. I only have a couple, I don't get as much reach on Twitter. On Facebook, I have a lot more people. I have a lot more reach on Facebook, I guess, but like I'm not famous or anything, but like, more people see my shit.
I got more clout on Facebook.
Yeah, a little bit. And I just have more friends on Facebook. Facebook is the friends. There's not really the follow back. the gimmick. There's just once you're friends, you're friends. There doesn't have to be this follow back. Just add friend, confirm. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't have to explain the mechanics of Facebook, but
well, we definitely can pick that up. Starting
hold on,
June
I'm not
3rd.
done yet.
Okay.
And I just said, like, man, games are just so, like, sometimes they just floor you, dude. Like,
yeah.
And Last of Us floored, like, it fucking floored me. And it's funny because I was playing it, I was getting towards the end, and then Sean's brother-in-law came over, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom comes over, he's a big gamer. Oh, what are you playing? The Last of Us? He goes, yeah. And I go, yeah, I've been playing it all day, and this and that. I want to get to the end. And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, you got a little bit to go. He goes, we're almost there. I go, all right, cool. And he goes, well, do you know the ending? Like, has anyone spoiled it for you? You don't, or do you not know? I go, no, I don't know. I know it's good, but I don't know. And then he was like, oh, dude, go. You got to play it. He goes, just go. Just go.
Just finish.
You're almost there. And you know what? I couldn't. I want to explain it to you. Yeah. But I don't want to like give it away, but there's something I want to compare it to, but then it might take but then you'll know what it'll take away from.
Hey, go ahead. You can tell me.
No, I don't. I don't want to rob you of that. I can't rob you of that. I can't. As someone who's into gaming and media and movies, and as someone who's been robbed of big moments, throughout. Luckily, I wasn't robbed of that, and it exceeded my expectation.
I'm surprised that because neither have I. I've never been spoiled from this game. It kind of went under the radar for me a little bit.
I didn't. There was a big gap in my gaming history. I didn't game a lot as a kid, but I was into playing video games, as a kid and a teenager. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like I wasn't a huge gamer. So I had a PS2. I played it, but I just played games that I had. It was just an part of the arsenal of things that I liked to, go outside and hang out and play guitar. And I had a lot of different interests. Mm-hmm. And then the PS3 and the Xbox 360, what is that, third gen or whatever?
Yeah, third.
That era, I didn't game it at all. And that's when really games started to become what they are now, like really fully realize like cinematic experiences, mm-hmm. Because so Last of Us actually came out for PS3.
Yeah.
And I wonder how it looked because like it's remastered, so now you play it on the PS4, it looks fucking gorgeous. But
yeah,
like,
it probably looked.
It probably looked good because I remember playing the PS3.
Yeah.
I remember playing one of the Uncharted games, just for a couple minutes of it at my friend's house.
Yeah.
And I thought it looked fucking amazing,
Yeah.
So the PS3, it's still.
It was good. I mean, PlayStation 4 just really perfected the graphics.
Yeah, right. The PS3 though, had pretty damn good graphics. Yeah, I don't know. That game, so it came out for that, and then it came out a year later for PS4. Mm-hmm. So it came out in the later life of the PS3. So that's probably why it was one of the better games, and it transitioned so well into the PS4.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know.
I had never heard of it until I bought my PS4.
Yeah.
And it came with the game, and I just bought it. I don't know why I bought it like that. That's maybe the only one they had, and I figured, hey, fuck it, a free game.
Picked it up,
and then Mike was the one who was like, "Oh, you came with the Last of Us?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, bro, you gotta play that game. It's a fucking crazy game." Damn. And that's when I first started to hear about the Last of Us. That's one of the best games you could ever play.
3 last year, it was like a big deal. The Last of Us 2 and like the trailer and everything, and I was like, "What the fuck? What is this?"
If you play the game. Then Last of Us 2 is a humongous deal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was watching E3 and the funny thing is, I was watching E3 just for like the Switch games and Switch titles and shit.
Loser.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Like I look back now, I'm like, what the fuck? I was just focused on the Switch and what games.
The Last of Us is the type of game that I like. Tremendously story driven, but fast paced. So linear, You know, I don't really like open world RPG games that much. Too much. You know, like Spider-Man, that's about as open world as I get. You know what I'm saying? Or fucking
Red Dead.
Red Dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but even then, the maps weren't that big. You know, well, I guess it was. I don't know. Like there's games like. Have you ever played Elder Scrolls?
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Just too big.
Those are like, you know, endless side missions and this and that, and you know, I just don't have that much time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like linear stories, get me from A to B, and like, yeah, side missions are cool, and like, you know, that's kind of, you know, it's kind of hard to find a game like an action adventure RPG game that doesn't have side missions. You know what I'm saying?
Well, also too, side missions can be great too, because well, it depends on how you like to play. Like I was playing a game, I forgot what game it was. I was talking to Mike that had played a while back, and I told him like I played it and I got bored of it. He's like, "Why'd you get bored of it?" I go, "Well, I played the side missions, but I think I played too many." And then because I played the side missions first,
talking about Red Dead.
I forgot what game it was. I have it in on my PS4 right now.
Okay.
Oh, I think it was South Park. South
Okay.
Park. So I did a bunch. Oh yeah, it was South Park. So I played the Fractured Butthole, right? And I told him, and yeah, that's part 2. And
fractured butthole.
Yeah, fractured.
Not fractured butthole.
Yeah, fractured butthole. So anyway, it's
the fractured butthole.
It's a it's an RPG, right?
Right. Is it turn-based? It's turn-based, right?
Turn-based, yeah. And it's pretty much you're playing an episode of South Park. You know, you get to control, you see the town, you get to interact with the characters and everything. They have side quests, and if you do that, so the story is you're superheroes, and then you can upgrade your character or whatever.
Right.
So when I did the side quests, I did too many, and then when I went to go do the main story, I just like I flew, like it just
Why?
flew
Because
through.
your guy was so powerful.
Yeah, it was just so powerful because I did all of the side missions.
Sounds sort of like what they would call an unbalanced game.
Yeah.
You know, like they use words like well balanced gameplay. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, so maybe that sounds like it was kind of unbalanced. I guess. I'm not really sure what that means though.
Well, I guess, you know, because if you were to play the main story like that, granted, it's not one of the difficult, you know, it's not one of those difficult games where it's like, you know, oh shit, dude, like you got to grind, or it's not. It's purely for fun. I mean, it's a fucking South Park game.
Yeah.
But you know, I feel that for games like that, like you said, if it's unbalanced, you might just not even want to play it anymore. Or if it's too hard, too difficult. That's one of the reasons why I don't play. What are those games? The one that we were talking about with Stanley about Dead Souls. I think.
Oh, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Yeah, you know, I tried to get into this game called Bloodborne, and it looked really cool. And I was like, hey, it looks like a cool game. Like, I'm going to try it out, you know. It's kind of scary, kind of horror. It was actually really scary. I'm not really into horror games. But for some reason, this game, like, caught my eye. And it was fucking hard. And I'm like, man, this game is hard. And it's like right off the bat, it's like ridiculously, like, hard. And then I talked to Stan, and Stan's like, yeah, he goes, that game is kind of like Dark Souls. It's like, it's the same, like, I think he uses the same engine. It's just a different aesthetic.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, those games are, like, they're known to be ruthlessly, like, difficult.
Yeah. You know who made a game that was good like that? EA, surprisingly, with the Jedi, the Fallen Order.
Yeah, I've been wanting to play that. You got that?
My brother borrowed it. But Mike has it.
But he has it downloaded?
I'm not sure.
I might just buy it. How much is it?
Now I'm not too sure. They did have a sale.
Anything in that sale?
Nah, the Predator was on that sale.
Fuck the Predator. Yeah, I'm so pissed off at
I'm actually kind of pissed that we bought it. If we would have just waited a little bit longer.
That's what didn't I say when I bought it? I said, why didn't I fucking wait? Why did I pay $40 for this game? Like, this is a game I should have got for free.
But it's gonna be on sale in June on for $40. But also Death Stranding. That
I was talking to someone, and we were talking about games, and we brought up Death Stranding, and they said, oh, the walking simulator. Yeah. And apparently you just walk for long periods of time.
Yeah, because I think the story is you know, like civilization lives underground now. Something happened, and they, like, people order babies, or I don't know, for whatever reason the guy's holding a baby's got to deliver the package, and there's only certain people that are trained to go and deliver, and they have to, like, wear a suit. And so
why is it like toxic air?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know the story entirely, But yeah, it's pretty much you got to get from point A to point B, and I don't think it's much of a fighting game. It's more of a kind of like a
Exploration.
style, exploration kind of a thing. Because there are like ghost things that try to attack you, but yeah, I don't know how
that shit got Game of the Year, didn't it?
It did, because the guy who created it, I believe, was the creator of Final Fantasy or something like that.
Yeah. Never played any of those games.
Well, it's gonna be on sale for $30 in June.
Fuck all that.
Yeah, but
fucking Red Dead should have won Game of the Year, dude. When that fucking campaign ended, when you finished the whole campaign, the epilogue and everything.
You still haven't played the Red Dead, the first one, huh?
No, I saw some cutscenes though, so I kind of know the story. How Dutch is actually a big character.
Yeah,
which is the funny thing is, Dutch is my favorite character. I love because he's just like, there's something about people who are evil, but like very charming.
Yeah.
That I just love, what's his name? Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Bastards, Leo in Django.
Yeah.
But
the thing
you love him, but you hate him. I thought Dutch was the shit. I'm like, man, Dutch.
Well, he had a great voice actor, but also Dutch doesn't start off as evil. Dutch actually starts off pretty honorable.
He's sort of he's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah.
And I mean, I already know what happens at the end of Red Dead 1. I saw it online. I don't know. I watched it. I watched it. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, so everything, what happens? I
didn't see everything, but I saw the end when I see what happens to Dutch at the end.
Oh, no. Well, that's not even the part that's like, oh fuck.
Oh no. Wow. Okay. Yeah. But the thing about Dutch is that if you play it, as a true sequel to, because Red Dead is the prequel to Red Dead 1. Red Dead 2 is if you've never played those games. Red Dead 2 is actually a prequel
to Red Dead,
and you learn about the Dutch. So you kind of really, so in Red Dead 1, you see Dutch more now as sort of like this real tragic. He's kind of a tragic character. He's not all evil. He's a guy who worked with what he had.
When playing the game, the feelings I had playing the first one, I remember feeling kind of bad for all these friends that they send you after. Because the story in the second one is they send you off after old friends that you had in the past with
in Red Dead 1.
In the Red Dead 1. So John Marston is
the main character.
Marston is the main character, and he's sent. He's caught up by, what are they called? The Pinkertons.
Right.
He gets caught up by them, and they find out where he lives, his family, and now they're like, okay, you don't want to die, or you don't want to go to jail, you don't want to lose your farm.
Go to your old gang,
and either capture or kill them. But
why, they should remaster Red Dead 1.
They should
and put it out.
But I remember the feelings I had was I kind of felt bad because there are some dialogues that you get when you get there, and some cutscenes. And you don't know any of these guys prior, so all you know is that the main character rode with them, and they were great friends, and they can't. So you know anything that happened in Red Dead 2, but now you play Red Dead 2, and knowing what happens in Red Dead 1
takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like I said, I played Uncharted 4. I'm playing Uncharted 1 now, and it plays like a prequel now.
Yeah,
because. But the thing is Uncharted 4 was like Uncharted, fully realized characters, fully realized the gameplay, an Uncharted for the modern game. Uncharted 1 is very much like early PS3, even almost late PS2, the way it plays.
Yeah.
Even the voice acting and the characters, they're kind of campy a little bit. It's the same characters. It's funny too, because there's people who die in Uncharted 1 who were alive in Uncharted 4, so the stakes aren't as high. You kind of know what's gonna happen already. Oh shit, well I know he's not really dead, but
that's like watching Better Call Saul, like you said.
It's great, but the stakes aren't as high as they could be because you already know what happens. But
he's faking it.
You know what it has that is very much an old-timey gaming mechanic that isn't really a thing anymore, because they've mastered. You don't have as much control. This is the first one.
Okay.
The first Uncharted. You can't control the camera as fluidly as you can in any really third-person game, a third-person perspective game. So it goes back and forth between being able to do the third person and control the camera, but then there's a lot of fixed camera angles where it's just one angle and you have to move and you have to just play the whole portion of that game from that angle. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's in the corner of the room. Remember like early Resident Evil? Like you ever play the first Resident Evil where it was just fixed. There was just fixed cameras. You would just go into rooms and there would be a and you would just walk around the room and like it was. It's
insane to think.
It's weird and then also the graphics aren't as good. Like they're good for the time, but still kind of more polygony.
It's almost like you were
because like graphics now are pristine.
Yeah,
like they look fucking.
It's almost like they were using CCTV cameras and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, the gameplay isn't as realized. You don't have as many moves, but it's still cool. I'm getting into it.
It's funny. They always talk about though how that Uncharted series really opened the doors for like the story driven video games.
Right. Naughty Dog really did that. And what's funny is Uncharted 2 is they say that if it wasn't for The Last of Us, that Uncharted 2 would be considered, because Naughty Dog made Last of Us 2. They made the Uncharted series.
Oh, okay.
They also made The Last of Us, Naughty Dog. And they said if it wasn't for The Last of Us, Uncharted 2 would probably be considered their magnum opus, like their greatest work. Like it really like fully realized Uncharted as Uncharted's potential as a game, but also you're right, like really popularized the story driven like action adventure cinematic sort of.
Yeah, because before that, I think like people were just like it was really starting to become unbalanced between like multiplayer and like third person shooter or first person shooters and stuff like that. And like now, even though EA doesn't seem to agree because they released that stupid ass statement, even though they
what game?
No, because EA was saying for a long time when they came out with Battlefront, Battlefront 1 and 2, that gamers don't want first person or
third person
story driven games. They like story driven games are dead. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, that's.
Mind you, this was only 2 years ago. Like 2-3 years ago that they were saying
Battlefront came out.
Yeah,
I bought it.
Yeah. So they were like, oh yeah, story driven games are dead.
Didn't Battlefront 2 have a campaign though?
That's the reason why. So when Battlefront came out, people were pissed.
I was pissed. I was like, what the fuck? I want to like play as characters.
Yeah, because the original Battlefront games.
And I'm not really an online gamer.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know. I mean, it's not really my thing.
I'm with you on that. Like, the only reason why I play online is we
I play with you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't go on to like try and rank. Like Ryan, my roommate, he plays Madden online all day. He just and I, I don't get it. Like it feels repetitive to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, too, like
Ryan also thinks Scanners is the best movie of all time. So I mean,
well, we'll get.
The guy's not exactly working with a full tank, but
they said that EA said it was dead, right? EA said story-driven games are dead. Then they released the Battlefront 2. The story was
campaign.
Yeah, they had the campaign,
which I heard was weak.
Yeah, it was weak, but people were like, "Okay, it's better." Then Jedi Fallen Order comes out, which is completely story-driven,
like just third person.
Yeah,
like no online gameplay.
Online gaming, and it fucking.
Because Last of Us actually has multiplayer online.
Oh, it does.
Play. Huh. Yeah, you could. It's like kind of like a hide the flag kind of thing. Like you match make with like a team of people, and then you kind of go up against another team in like this like post-apocalyptic arena. I guess I never played it. I don't.
Well, video games will probably never replace movies for
here's the
storytelling,
thing.
But
EA's a fucking stupid because storytelling, having a narrative in a game, is literally what saved the gaming industry.
Yeah.
If you know anything about the history of video games, or more specifically the history of home gaming. You had in the 70s, you had Pong, you had then in like the early 80s, you had like PC gaming, the Commodore 64, you had Apple, and you had IBM, and all these different engines. And then you had like Atari, right? You had Atari, and you had ColecoVision, and you had all these.
And then they were like releasing like these weird.
Well, the thing is these games were, back in the day, games were really just about high scoring. Games didn't have narratives. They didn't have characters or main characters. They just had, like maybe Pac-Man. You had Pac-Man. He was like the mascot, but there was no real story to Pac-Man.
Yeah, that's why they had like those bunch of like competitions, right? Where like
Yeah, it was
try to
just
get
high
scores
scoring,
or speed running. Right?
And you had maybe games had mascots, but they didn't have narratives. They didn't have like main. Well, I guess they did have main characters, but they didn't have narratives, right?
Yeah.
So then there's the video game crash of 81, 83, I think, or 82. The video game market crashes because they released this game called E.T.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
and
say.
it's like this shitty Atari game that they're rushing out because, video games at this point are just like they're just considered like kids' toys.
Yeah.
They just want them out to make a profit, and they're rushing them out. And there's no quality control, right?
Yeah.
Just broke my thing right here, and there's no quality control. So all these games are coming out. They're all shit. And everyone's like, man. And there's no YouTube. There's no video game reviews. There's nothing. You base it off the cover of the game. If the cover looks cool, hey, you buy it. And then you buy it and it's trash. Barely works. So the video game, crashes. Everyone thinks it's over. That's it. Home consoles is just not going to work. It's there's not a market for it. No one's buying. Everyone's returning. Just arcades,
Yeah.
And then Nintendo comes out, right?
Yeah.
And they release Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
And Super Mario Brothers has a narrative. Suddenly you're now in the role of Mario and you have a goal. Your goal is to find the princess, and there's a storyline and there's a narrative. And they say that They say that that's what saved gaming.
Yeah.
Mario literally saved home console gaming by having a narrative to a story.
Yeah.
So for EA to come out and say story-driven games are dead, that's literally a foundation of gaming, telling stories.
Yeah, it's. Could they just be that untouched?
They're just that out of touch, and like gaming has become very competitive. But there's always been video game competition since the day of arcades. Like we just said, they used to have high score competitions of Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and Galaga and all these other.
That statement from EA. I've thought about it before. I think that may have just been they're trying to recover from, because when a lot of people were upset that EA got, because there was the big whole switch between Disney and Star Wars, right? Of LucasArts and shit. So,
right, Disney bought.
So there was up in the air on who was gonna, whether EA was gonna keep the rights to making the new Star Wars games, and what was gonna happen. Was Disney gonna shut them down? Was Disney gonna allow them to continue? And a lot of people were upset that Disney, or at least most people were upset that Disney allowed them to continue with creating, in creative control of all the Star Wars games.
Right.
And then they
who do they get? The LucasArts still had.
Yeah. So EA was still in charge of LucasArts. So Disney pretty much just was like, okay, EA, go ahead, keep doing your thing. And some people were like, no.
Wait, so Disney owns EA?
No.
Okay.
Disney owns LucasArts.
Disney, the masters of storytelling.
Yeah.
And EA comes out and says stories. Gotta be
fucking
kidding me.
So there was their contract that they had with LucasArts, whatever, EA and LucasArts together. Disney was able to say, okay, we're done with this, or we're going to allow you to continue. And they allowed EA to keep creative control on the games being made.
Uh-huh.
People were upset about it. Battlefront comes out, and then people were like, what the fuck?
Where's the story?
Yeah, what is
That's
this?
Exactly
people don't like it.
You got to realize more people are playing video games more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
The video games are in so high demand. Online gaming is kind of niche, because to be an online gamer is to be a competitive gamer. And the average person, myself, I'm a casual gamer. I love video games probably more than I've ever in my entire life. I still consider myself a casual gamer.
Yeah.
Even someone like Sean, my roommate, who's really good at video games and has played video games, I consider him still a casual gamer. He's not a heavy gamer. He's a good gamer, but he's casual because people got shit to do. Got to go to work. Got to fucking we have responsibilities. And same with you. You know what I'm saying? Even Mike. Well, but for what they're talking about is kind of niche. Most people are just that they don't have time to go online and go up against the best fucking people in the country.
And that's what I'm saying. You know what really kills the multiplayer fucking online, like something like Call of Duty, and why it's good that they do release one every year.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be those people that have either one of two things: nothing to do.
Yeah.
Or completely just dive into the game and do nothing else and compete. So
and most online gamers,
like
people who are playing online a lot and like that's all they do, are kids.
Yeah,
they're teenagers. They're young teenagers. And they have all fucking day. All they gotta do is finish their homework and then fuck the COVID-19. No one even goes to school anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, they have all day, but it's when the market crashed, like I said earlier in '83, games were considered children's. I've said this before. Video games are considered children's entertainment. They all and I think in a lot of ways, a lot of people still think that video games are children's entertainment, but they're not. Video games now are very much adult entertainment. Not just because you could play PlayStation and they have these rated M mature and these games that tell these really in-depth stories and with humongous character development and heavy violence and heavy themes. People, Ashley, the average Joe who goes to work, who's never picked up a fucking video game controller in their life, they're playing fucking Candy Crush on their phone. They're fucking playing Clash of Clans, this and that. That's all video games. More people are playing video games now than ever. There's a huge market for video games from kids all the way to adults, and adults even into their 40s and 50s.
Dude, and just to show like how much it's progressing, how like they have like I just talked about PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
They have that where you pay for the service and you get access to games that you can stream or download as much as you like, as long as you pay your service, like a Netflix.
Right.
And they have that for PlayStation. They have Xbox streaming service. They also have, Nintendo. They're working on their shit. Nintendo always does their own thing, but they're working on it. And they have their NES. And,
I remember a couple years ago when we were working, and I was like, all I wanted was to get a Switch.
Yeah.
And like, it just wasn't in the cards like financially for me. And like, I guess now it kind of are they sold out still?
They're sold out. They're sold out everywhere. Yeah.
Well, everyone's playing Animal Crossing now. Like that's all anyone talks about when it comes to the Switch.
When I got it for
but Animal Crossing's only been out for
a few
months or something.
A month actually, like 2 months maybe. But
before it kind of, like when the Switch came out, I guess that Zelda game, but I don't know, like it didn't make a huge splash.
No, well, just for people that
it also
really
was kind of hard to buy.
Yeah,
it was hard to come by.
It did make a huge splash because it was sold out everywhere.
But there was really
like video game wise.
I don't know, why does Nintendo do that? Like they. Like, remember when the SNES Classic came out, or the NES Classic? Like, they sold out and they were impossible to find. And it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, we want to give you our money and you're not making enough units.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're...
And you're not... the resales, you're not getting any other resales.
Yeah, because they've also talked about that, where they don't like people reselling their shit because they don't think it's fair. But then again, then make more. But
what the fuck
whatever.
Are you doing?
There is a little rumor behind the scenes. What happened is that they think that
smart.
They might have rushed it out a little bit. But anyway, going back to it, the streaming platforms are there. But now, speaking of mobile games, like you just said, Google Play. I don't know how long this has been out, but 2 days ago, I logged into my Google Play just to look at I look at the apps now and then, like see what's new or whatever. They offered me $5 like a subscription, right? Like $5 whatever, and they have
a month,
and it just started. Yeah, so there's a month, and they're gonna have a bunch of apps. And you get them as if you paid for them premium. So right now there's two popular games on there that is called Stardew Valley, which is like an RPG farming simulator. Stardew Valley. And it's a farming simulator. A lot of gamers know that. It's like a pixelated.
I'm over simulator games.
Yeah. It's this one's like an action adventure farming. Yeah.
Again, a narrative.
Yeah.
A story.
Yeah. There's a little narrative to it.
Uh-huh.
Also, There's This War of Mine, which is another simulator where
This War of Mine.
yeah, it's a game where you're a bunch of survivors. It gives you like I think like 3 to 4 to begin with, and then when the nighttime comes, so you fix your little base up, and it's apocalyptic. You know the world's ending. You fix your base up, and then at night you send 2 people out to go scavenge for whatever, or you could choose not to do it. But you have to balance who you send out because your base could get attacked at night, and if you send the strongest out, your base may not be defended. If you send the weakest out, you may not scavenge for shit. You may not be able to get anything. But you get to play when they're out. You get to go to like other houses when you break in. You get to choose what they do and everything. It's pretty cool. Actually, it's really cool to have it on the phone because it wasn't on the phone before. It was it was meant for console. So was Stardew Valley, and you know as phones get better. Now they're offering the streaming service for that. So now I pay $5 a month and I can get gaming apps. They don't have that many right now because they just started, but they also have like editor apps, audio editor apps.
So this isn't just video games.
No, it's not just video games. It's like it's a subscription for apps, so you don't have to pay for the ads or pay for them separately, and you just get it all in one bundle, and you can download and delete as you please. It's crazy how. Like you said, the video game industry is now starting to...
It's in humongous... video games are in more demand than ever because everybody's playing them.
Yeah.
And they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
You know, because there's still this sort of box that gamers are put into of consoles and this and that, but it's not. It's so much bigger than that. And, like, it's a huge market. And that's why, like, you know, I've been trying to get into the gaming industry myself as a composer and learning how to make, you know, because there's a high demand. There's a humongous demand.
Oh,
and you know, hey, supply and demand.
Shit. All right. Well, we are coming up to our hour.
What are we, a gaming podcast now?
I know. We just, well.
Sorry, I had some notes, but I guess we're good.
Well, let's bring up.
Nah.
What you got?
Well, I don't know. I was watching Dave Chappelle and like, God, the guy's just so fucking good at stand up. Like,
he's a genius.
He really is the greatest stand up ever. You know, I don't know if it's just from my perspective, but it seems that I feel there's a resurgence in stand up comedy right now.
Well, everyone's at home,
but I mean, like, Netflix really took it upon themselves because they put out a lot of comedy specials, but I don't really watch them on Netflix. What I see is a lot of bits on Instagram. Now that Instagram has IGTV.
Oh, that's right.
I'll be like on the Discover page, I think it's called still, and you know it just shows you like random people's stuff, and then like it creates your algorithm based on like who you're following and what you're liking and this and that. And I see a good amount of like comedian bits. You know, I'm starting to see. Some regulars in my feed, and they're really funny, and I'm glad.
Like new comedians,
like not unknown, you know, but like up and comers, but like you know they're professional comedians. You know, they tour and they're doing, you know, and there's two guys that are really funny that I've grown to like, and they're great comedians. But when you watch Chappelle, it's just like this. It's almost like he's not even doing stand-up. It's like he just goes on stage and he just talks. Like, you know, like when you watch comedians, especially like, you know, younger comedians, and when I say younger, I mean like, you know, late 20s, even guys in like their 30s to mid-30s, you know. Because it takes a while. You know, it's very rare for a comedian to hit it big in their early 20s, you know. You got to grind hard on the circuit, you know, before you really make a name for yourself. And you know, these guys are good at what they do. They have a good rhythm and a cadence, but you could still sort of hear the beats in their jokes, you know, like the setup and sort of the punchline, and it still sounds like a conversation, but you could still kind of feel like the setup and like what might have been riffed, but what really was like the end game of their set, you know, the setup and then the punchline. But with Chappelle, it's just like he's just riffing the whole time, and it's complete and utter genius. And his genius is that he can riff, like it's. And just be that funny, or it's that calculated and he can make it sound like he's riffing. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
It's he does
he's
this
so
bit.
good.
I saw this bit once and I said, this is when I realized Dave Chappelle is not just a genius, but he is the greatest comedian of all time. Better than Eddie Murphy, better than Richard Pryor. You know, say whatever the fuck you want. It's the truth. It's the truth. I've seen Eddie Murphy Pryor stand up. It's good, you know, and it is what it is, but Chappelle is just effortless. Anyways,
Well, a lot of people would say George Carlin. Huh?
Carlin's good. I liked Carlin. If anything, I probably liked him. I like him better than like Murphy and maybe even Pryor. I don't know. I feel like Pryor and I don't know. This is just my opinion, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
I feel like Pryor and Murphy rely on the N-word a little too much. And I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. Carlin obviously can't use the N-word.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to be, you know, sometimes when you have less to work with, like, you have to be more creative, so to speak, you know. And the thing about the N-word is that it has a certain cadence to it where it tends to fit well in comedy and fit well in rapping. When you hear, you know, it just I don't know, it just has this cadence to it where it fits really well. That's why you hear it a lot in rapping, and you hear it a lot from black comedians because it's funny. It's funny when black people say the N-word. I don't know why, it just is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of ironic, you know, because of the history of the word.
But it's also in the way they say it with the soft A
for
and not
sure.
the hard R.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, I mean, you're not being specific, you know.
Oh, come on. And but it's just that's kind of a given, Felipe. Come on, don't be so afraid. So my point is, Dave Chappelle, you know, he's a black guy. He uses the N-word. You know, he doesn't work clean. He doesn't need to. You know, there's this big sort of like, I don't know what's the word, but it's kind of like, you know, these comedians who are like, you know, ultimately you want to be able to work clean, so that, you know, it opens your opportunity up to play more than just like, you know, adult clubs. You know, you can get on TV. When you get on TV, you got to work clean. Dave Chappelle's been on TV, so he works clean. Because when you're on the Tonight Show, you got to work clean. You know, you can't use profanity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something he had a funny joke. He goes, you know, I feel like he was talking about Kramer. Michael Richardson, when he went off on a bunch of on audience members, and there was some black people there, and he started calling him the N-word with the hard R, and you know, it was a big deal. And do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Remember that? It was happening a while back already,
Yeah.
and it was a big deal, and it like pretty much destroyed his post Seinfeld career, and he really like it's, you know, there's no coming back from that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, he's also fucking white.
Right. Well, duh. Again, I'll give in, Felipe.
So white people are never gonna come back from that ever. Yeah.
Especially if you're famous, you know, and you have, you know, and you're kind of beloved. Anyways, and he said, you know, he goes,
why did he? What were they doing?
I don't know. They were just heckling him. Who knows? And Chappelle's talking about it. He goes, you know, that was such a weird moment. He goes, because I learned a lot about myself that day. He goes, when I saw that, you know. He goes, I realized that day, he goes, I'm 20% black, 80% comedian. He goes, because, you know, as a black man, you become furious. You get mad. It's that. But as a comedian, I was like, don't worry, Kramer, you'll get him next time. And like, it's just so genius that like Chappelle, you know, he knows how to step out of his sort of, as a black person, he knows how to step out of his role and hold up a mirror to you know, his own community, you know what I'm saying? But also make it universal so that we can all laugh at it, even though
that's why the Chappelle show,
but you know, everyone can laugh at it.
That's why they say the Chappelle show, you know, the way it was written and the skits he used were really great social commentary on like the way black people were treated.
The Rick James bit is probably the funniest bit on television that's ever aired ever. Every time I see it, it's like, this is pure gold. Like, it's always funny. It's never not funny.
But
I don't know.
I don't know.
Chappelle's just the shit. He's so much better than Seinfeld, and I like Seinfeld.
But I mean, nowadays, he like his fans were divided, right, because of that the whole sticks and stones.
I saw that shit. I was like, "This is the greatest."
I thought it was. I
was like, "This is the greatest stand-up I've ever seen in my life."
You know,
he went for it, but that's the thing. He doesn't discriminate. You know, the things he says about, minorities, the things he says about, trans people or gay people or white people, he's saying it about black people. Yeah. He's saying it about, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, it's almost like that bad joke, like, oh, I'm not racist, I hate everybody. Yeah. It's not so much that he hates everybody, he just knows how to look at it from a quote unquote human perspective. You know, like he knows how to see the hypocrisy in all the groups. You know what I'm saying?
If there's one thing I took from that though, is now, Rotten Tomatoes really they lost they lost all credibility after that. Not only with that it was The Last Jedi that they gave like praise to. Yeah. And then Sticks and Stones that they just shat on.
And you know what's funny is Dave Chappelle, he gave the day a couple days after Trump won the election, he got on SNL and he did a monologue, right? Mm-hmm. And you would think he'd go out and say fuck Trump and this and that, and he didn't do that. He goes, you know what? He goes, Trump's, he's controversial and he's this whole campaign was kind of based on hate mongering and racism and this and that. But he goes, but I just started getting this money. I'm gonna see about this tax break and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fucking funny. You know what I mean? and then he says eloquently, he says, you know what though? He goes, even though yes, we're in this position and yes, everyone's feeling sort of with nervous and waiting with sort of bated breath. What's gonna happen next? He goes, I'm going to give the president a chance. He goes, I'm going to give him a chance. But all I ask is that he gives us, the historically disenfranchised, give us a chance too. And it was just like, he just knows, he gets it. He's beyond culture. He's just an enlightened guy. You know what I'm saying? He's beyond, what it means. He's beyond the racial, divides.
Well, Dave Chappelle, the greatest comedian.
The greatest stand-up of all time, dude. The guy's a fucking genius.
All right, coming up on our hour.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Rev.
Well, thanks, everyone, for listening. Right. Subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think about our content. Also, I guess, let us know what other stuff you might want us to comment on. Yeah. Maybe some topic, we always call each other and say, what are we going to talk about? Yeah. And
what do you guys want to talk about?
I just come in and I just riff raff, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, let us know. Do you guys have any like thoughts or topics that you think we might have an interesting opinion on? Let us know. Also, I look really good in red.
Yeah. I was going to say that, but
Thank you.
All right, man. All right. Have a good night, guys. Peace.